It's Tuesday. You know what that means. It's time for Ignition with the AEW Fan Hub podcast team. This is Kelson, and we've got a lot to talk about tonight. But before we start, I did want to make a couple of little announcements. First of all, just want to remind everybody that Collision this week is on Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on TNT and HBO Max. At my AEW, I guess, too. I haven't heard anything to the contrary. But I just wanted to remind people that it is on Thursday night. Other thing is that I want you all to consider joining the AEW Fan Hub subreddit. We got some really good content and stuff that we're talking about there. One of the things we're talking about right now is what is your Mount Rushmore of AEW's greatest moments? Which I think is a really cool conversation. I usually hate the Mount Rushmore conversations, but in this case, not really. This has actually been a really fun conversation with a lot of stuff people bringing up that they're different. They're a lot different. So there's a lot of stuff that people are saying that is new. And of course, just wanted to remind you again, of course, you're listening to the Ignition podcast and watching the Ignition podcast. Tomorrow night, Conrad Cushman and Derek Shelton over at Everything Pro Wrestling Podcast at EPW Show on YouTube will be doing their AEW Dynamite review show. It is always fun. Highly suggest everybody go over there and enjoy what they've got to say. Let's see. We got some folks in the chat. Actually, it's our guys that are in here in the chat, which is odd. So I'm not going to read what you said, but let's get on with the show. And the first topic of this evening is going to be the match between Kenny Omega and Swerve Strickland, won by Kenny Omega, meaning that he retained his EVP status. Of course, because he lost, Swerve Strickland then lost his number one contendership. Don't really want to touch on this match too much. We will be talking about some of the things that this match may lead to later on, but I did want to ask specific questions of the group here. One of them being, was this a wasted stipulation, as it says on the graphic? And I think Barry is the one that I think you brought this up on the Discord when we were talking about tonight's show. Are there too many stipulations in AEW? Is it taking away from it? So Barry, I'm going to throw it to you. What do you think?
Yeah, I did some reflecting kind of during the show and then afterwards with you. And I think when they use stipulations, Tony really needs to take a step back and to your point, is this something that we're wasting? I thought that stipulation was really intriguing. The match went the way I thought it was going to go to begin with, just where I think they're booking. And because of that, I think they got people's hopes up and missed on something that I think would have been really, really fascinating. And it's one thing if you put a stipulation, like all that match needed was just the number one contender. They didn't need to name anybody as the number one contender. They should have just said, you know what? We're booking a match between Swerve and Kenny for the number one contender. That's it. Would have been fine. But they threw this stipulation in about Swerve winning and getting the EVP title, and that got people thinking, and it was really, really interesting. A lot of really cool storytelling ideas. And when you dangle something and you're not serious, like, I think that's a waste. I think that's a wasted opportunity. Go ahead, Kelson.
I wanted to ask you a question because I mentioned this last week on the show, and I don't know whether I was dreaming or not, but am I right in saying that didn't Swerve Strickland, when they made this stipulation, didn't Swerve Strickland come out on whatever show he was on and say, yep, I'm the number one contender? That's news to me.
Yeah. I think it was in that promo, that weird Dynamite. Didn't that happen on that weird Dynamite?
I can't remember.
2 weeks ago, I think.
Yeah,
It
it,
was
Yeah.
just
it, it was. He did
yeah.
It
say,
came out of
I didn't
nowhere.
even know that. Like,
Yeah, the announcers were the ones that plugged us in, and then Swerve was reacting to it, and that to me just says that they screwed up. I think they screwed up. Bottom line.
Yeah. Well, Shane, I want to hear your thoughts on this, because let's extend this further because, AEW's done a lot of these. Hey, win this match, you win $200,000, $500,000, $1 million. We got a lot of rich wrestlers now in AEW, and they don't even need to sign contracts anymore at this point. They just wrestle for the money.
Yeah,
I mean, what do you think of these stipulation matches?
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, they're winning all this money on the side. Where's their incentive to, do what they're actually there to do? I'm on both sides of the playing field here. Like, in terms of this current situation with Kenny and Swerve, I don't think that they needed the stipulation. I think they could have gone into this from the contendership perspective. I think Kenny is gonna, they're gonna use that EVP thing forever. It was a bait and switch. It's like going to a Best Buy back in 1999. You're getting the Walkman with the anti-skip on it, but they don't have the cheap one. You're gonna end up spending an extra $16 on the expensive one, and you're not getting
Yeah.
what you came in there to pay for, but you're still getting something out of the situation. And I this is one of those things to me, like, maybe we shouldn't overanalyze this and just take it for what it is. We got something out of it, and I think that's good enough
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
So
I
Yeah.
just caution going forward for them is my just general advice.
Now I'm going to ask Jess a specific question here. Okay, the stipulation is well known in the Swerve Strickland and Kenny Omega match. My question to you is two parts. One, and this should also be to Chris as well. It's two parts. One is, do you agree that the stipulation maybe wasn't needed? Two, maybe let's say that the stipulation was made for a match between, I don't know, Wheeler Yuta and Mark Davis. Would it have meant more with that?
Like, are we talking like the EVP stipulation specifically? Because neither Yuta or Mark were EVPs.
But they could have had, okay, whoever wins this match. This is the way it goes with AEW. Whoever wins this match wins a shot at the eliminator match for the number. Which if they win the eliminator match, then they're obviously the number one contender. But they got to fight MGF. I mean, again, it goes back to, are AEW doing with these eliminator matches, number one contender or EVP matches, are they doing, in your opinion, too many stipulation matches?
Probably. I mean, like, with the money matches, they sort of served a bit of a purpose. At least most of them did, because they played into the whole Broke Buck storyline. But outside of that, they don't really serve much of a purpose, I don't think.
So, hey, let me throw this over to you, Jess, and Chris Kelson and Shane too. I don't really have a problem with the money matches or the eliminator matches. Like, I think that stuff's fine. Just kind of coming up for a reason for a match. I don't really have a problem with that. It's when you add a stipulation of severity to a match that, in essence, is more interesting than the other one. Like in this case, I think Swerve being EVP was more interesting than Kenny getting the number one contender shot. Save that. Don't put on severe stipulations like Hangman losing his title unless you're going to explore that, or I'm losing his chance to go for the title. And like, that's what I think happened. They're like, oh, okay, they're going to believe us because we did it here. They're going to tune in and think, oh, surely they won't do it again. Maybe they will. And like, I think it's a bait and switch. This was a really cool stipulation, and I think it overshadowed what else is going on in the match, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, by definition, it was a bait and switch. There's no getting around that. So,
well, let's go to Chris. What do you have to say about this, buddy?
I mean, it's hard to say it's really a bait and switch because they never promised you that Swerve was going to become EVP. Some people got it in their minds that it was going to happen, but you can't put that on AEW. I do think it was unnecessary, but I don't think it's a bait and switch. I think it was Swerve is becoming what he hated. He hated how the Young Bucks acted, but now he suddenly wants that power. Like, the whole deal is Swerve is a hypocritical, egomaniacal asshole. He deserved to have his house burned down. He doesn't deserve to be the #1 contender. I'm glad Kenny won.
All right,
I
well,
mean,
let
but
me go ahead, Shane.
he's had that power in the Mogul Embassy. He had that power before, and when when he was on his first run. I mean, I don't know if I can get behind that idea completely.
Let me give you what I think here, and this is just my opinion, and I hope I say it right. Swerve Strickland and Kenny Omega, between the two of them, 10 years from now, who's the face of the company? Swerve Strickland.
Swerve, yeah.
Kenny Omega is likely not going to be around anymore as far as wrestling. Hell, 5 years from now, Kenny Omega may not even be, or it's a very high probability that he won't be around 5 to 7 years from now. Swerve Strickland will still be damn good at that, barring injury, of course. My point here is that it seems to me like with Kenny Omega winning this match, it's building toward Kenny Omega being an all-in. To me, that's what it feels like. And we're going to be talking about all-in a little bit later on in the show, so I don't want to get too much into it. But in my opinion, where the hell does Swerve go now? He's nothing right now. He is absolutely, on the back burner. Obviously, Swerve is not nothing. He is a fantastic wrestler, a fantastic presence, a fantastic character, charisma out the wazoo. But this match is one of those matches that if there was any match that needed to end in a no contest, this was the match to me.
Yeah, I think this may even be worth, after this week's show, Kelson revisiting as a topic for next week to see the booking direction for Swerve, because I'm trying to place him on the all-in card, and I don't know where it's going. And I mean, we're months out, but like, who does he feud with? I don't know.
Right. I mean, we're less than it's in August. All in is in August. It's less than 5 months away. I mean, it's not that far off.
Right.
Anybody else have some final thoughts about this topic before we move on?
I think this loss is what leads to Swerve reforming the embassy. I think he wanted that power, that #1 contender spot, and now that he doesn't have it, he's going to bring in people to help him to get to that next level.
Okay, well, let me ask you this, Chris. Let me ask you this. And of course, everybody else can chime in on this. When I look at Swerve with the Mongols, or the Moguls, as everybody with a brain cell would say, when I see Swerve with the Moguls, is he as important or as relevant as he is when Swerve is just Swerve and Prince Nana? I don't think so. I think the Mogul Embassy held Swerve back.
It all depends on who ends up being part of the group, Like, that's a question, like, I can't answer right now because it all depends on who they bring in and what they do with them. I think if, you put them with the right people and you give them that push and make them a feared group, then yeah, he becomes stronger. But if you just put random people in there and don't really do anything with them, then it becomes weaker. That was the problem the first time with the Mogul Embassy. They really didn't do anything with them guys.
Right. No direction.
Except use it as a platform to elevate the Gates of Agony down the road. Swerve doesn't need anybody. Yeah. I mean, like he doesn't. Like, he needs Nana, and that's only, as a valet. I would say if you're going to put Swerve on screen with anyone in a partnership scenario, it's going to be Keith Lee when he comes back. Either that,
I agree,
or you run them against each other. But Swerve is doing just fine on his own, and there's no reason why you should, I don't think there's any reason why we should throw anyone else in the mix.
No. And if he does have some folks, it's got to be top talent. Like, none of the also, I think it's important to call out that run with his group was during the dark period for AEW, when their storytelling was like, the matches were still great, but like the shows, they were all over the place. if they do it, they need to take it seriously like they do with the other factions. So you need some top people, 2-3 people tops, size of the Hurt Syndicate. That type of group would work perfect. You get too big, it's messy, convoluted, to your point, Kelson, and dilutes the whole thing.
I have to say, I agree with everything that Shane and Barry just said. I feel the exact same way. There's no reason for me to expand upon it. Anybody else with any final thoughts on this topic before we move on? All right, then. Well, let's move on. Again, everything we're talking, I think, Barry, you pointed this out on Discord. Everything we're talking about in a way leads to All In.
Yeah.
Even though All In is 4 months, little less than 5 months away, it really does. And what we're going to talk about next is the women's division. Toni Storm is out for an undetermined amount of time for an undetermined reason. But look, who's going to step up and be the woman in AEW? Is it going to be somebody that's there now? Is it going to be somebody new? What do you think about some of the things that have happened? I mean, Chris Statlander, is she even I guess a possibility? Because she's gotten her ass whooped the last couple of times that she's been in the ring. Does she deserve another shot at something that she's lost twice in a row? Well, things like that. Mercedes Moné, who is, wrestled this week, I think tonight. Tonight, Mercedes Moné is wrestling in her 7th different country this year. And the thing is Mercedes Moné has not wrestled once in AEW. She's in Winnipeg tonight, defending her WPW Women's Championship. AEW Dynamite is in Winnipeg tomorrow night. So there's a very, very good chance that we're going to see Mercedes Moné tomorrow night in whatever state that she's in. But again, is Mercedes Moné the woman that's going to step up? Or could it be somebody like Athena and, Billy Starks? Zeta Steele, who looked like the women's world champion and the men's world champion in that match that she had. She was kicking everybody's ass.
She was on fire, man.
That was awesome. So who do you think? Who's stepping up?
Well, really quick, I want to highlight a comment that Wolf just threw out there. Swerve doesn't need a faction. Book him against Bandito. Boom, money. I mean, I couldn't agree with that statement more. I mean, anyone that you put in the ring with Swerve is going to be fantastic, but Bandito, that would be a Dave Meltzer 5-star match. Sorry, but in terms of the women though, against Thekla, I don't know. I mean, I don't personally. I don't want to see Thunder Rosa. I would love to see, honestly, for clout, just for clout, I'd love to see it be Britt Baker. Bring back Britt Baker, throw her right into the deep end. I think that could be a lot of fun. I think it would piss a lot of people off, but I think if it doesn't get mouths, tongues wagging, it isn't doing its job.
Yeah, I'm not going to touch the Brit thing because I don't want to think about it if I don't know if she's healthy enough. You know what I mean? But I think that'd be cool. I'd love to see her back. Question to the group too. So is this time to get? Because I'm thinking, who do we feud with Thekla? And if the program was going to be Tony and Thekla leading up to All In or down the road with Tony being gone, who's the next top babyface? It's Willow. Is it time to get her away from the TBS title and move her back into the main event scene to feud? Or do we, to Kelson's point, is it pulling up and elevating some people? And I'm like, Amanada's coming back, but I don't know if she can carry it. From a mic standpoint, who else cuts fun promo? Like who's a solid promo is what I'm thinking about.
Well,
I'm really struggling here.
I do want to go to the chat. Color Me Interested said this is the time to let Mina shine where she couldn't before because she was a sidekick, meaning Tony's sidekick. Yeah, I could see that. And then he went further on to say, he says it's Mina. But to your point, Barry, is Mina good enough on the mic? Or does she need to be good enough on the mic?
Yeah, if you're going to do a sustained main event program, I like Mina. I think she's a lot of fun. I think she's a great character, but she's not a good enough promo. I think you need somebody that is at least proficient at cutting a clear promo. I mean, Stat Stat manages it. She's worked really hard on it. Willow's a good promo. Thekla's a good promo. Britt's a good promo. I don't know if Megan Bain's a good enough promo. She's coming around. Like that's where I'm thinking is like who can carry talking on TV to feud with Thekla, and that's where I'm coming up blank right now on the main event scene now that Tony's out.
Mercedes.
Athena and Mercedes Moné.
Maybe that's the answer then.
I mean, like we called this last year with Mercedes that she was gonna reign supreme until she doesn't, and then I mean, what direction does she have to go in after she drops all of her belts? She already failed to get the AEW World Championship twice now. It makes the most sense for that to be her redemption arc. I couldn't imagine if they threw her at that belt that she wouldn't get it. So
Yeah, she come back as a babyface. She's gonna get a babyface pop.
oh, of course.
Yeah, I mean, and she absolutely could. The whole losing the titles could be her, like she was trying to do so much to prove something, but when she lost the titles is when she got those standing ovations from fans. When she was draped in gold, they were like, okay, it's fine, but whatever. But then when she goes and wrestles and loses and shows that heart and determination, that's when the fans respond to her. It's like, okay, we thought you were just an egomaniac, but no, you're a tremendous wrestler, and we've grown to respect you for that.
I want to go back. I want to go back to the chat. Let me go back to the chat real quick.
Mansplaining, so let Jess, the only female on the panel, she should.
Yeah, let me just go to the chat real quick because Color Me Interested said if Asuka in WWE can carry a promo, Mina can. It has to be serviceable. And then Wolf says, is Queen Aminata hurt? If not, push the Queen. Yes, Queen Aminata has been hurt. However, they did show, she did make a post on X today showing herself working out and saying that she feels fine. So I do expect Queen Aminata back really quick. Jess, let's go to you. As the only woman on the panel, let's hear what you have to say about the women's division.
I'll answer with a question. What is our ETA on Bailey?
Aha. Jess, I think this is why I love talking to you. Before Jess, do you have anything else to expand on that? Like, is that like you want to open dialogue?
Yeah, because I mean, like, if we could get Bailey at any time at this point, that could be our answer. Can you imagine the matches that'll open up? I can't wait.
So it's widely theorized that Bailey wants to make the jump, and obviously Mercedes is one of her best friends. I can imagine that would be more than any other person in the women's division in WWE right now. I could honestly say there's a high probability of Bailey coming over, but I want to make a point about Mercedes. Like this time last year, I was like preaching to the rafters that Mercedes was fantastic for the women's division. And the same people that were talking about her growth were calling her Botcha Banks. Like, I want to be fair because, we all have to watch the same product. But I mean, like this is still professional wrestling. I just want, we all want to see the same thing at the end. People be safe, people, happy, people watching their people go over, but,
Jess, to answer you, which Color Me Interested in the chat already did say this, Bailey is 2027. That is true. Her contract runs until December 31st, 2026 with WWE. If she does become a free agent, she will not be available until January 1st, 2027, which is a full 8 months from now.
Damn it.
WWE is going to throw everything at her too. Like Bailey is the type of talent they're going to throw anything at her to keep her away from AEW because they know it's going to put a million eyes on screen if she makes the jump.
All right. Well, Chris, you've been kind of silent. What do you have to say?
I think Mercedes Moné can absolutely be the person that steps up. I think she can come back as a baby face and almost kind of slot right into that Tony Storm spot.
So if she comes back as a babyface too, because I wasn't thinking of people away when I was talking earlier, and I don't know why I didn't. Shane and like all of you guys are pulling these people that can make returns. I'm like, duh, now I feel stupid. But if she comes back as a babyface, like humility always gets over, especially somebody who's at rock bottom. So what's that story look like though, Chris? Like if we're gonna plug her in against Thekla, do you just put her right in that program? Like, and how do you set that up?
That's the one I'm not really sure on, because I feel
Yeah.
like the way to do it is to have her win the Owen Hart. So I think, honestly, I think for a little bit you just have kind of, I hate to say it, you just do one-off pay-per-view feuds for Tekla to make her a dominant heel champion.
Yeah. Who did they do the promo for the tree? It was the Brawling Birds and
And
Mina,
Mina.
right? To set up the trios match, and then they'll do the tags and the singles. Okay.
Yeah, you can have Mina versus Tekla again, add the whole no DQ stipulation, even though Mina doesn't like hitting anyone with weapons.
So if they're gonna run at least through Dynasty, Thekla and Mina, maybe to your point, Kelson, they're gonna be in Edmonton. I think it makes man, I don't know how you slot her in. We'll find out, I guess, huh?
Well, it'll be Winnipeg. If she's in Edmonton, then we have
Winnipeg,
trouble
my bad.
getting.
Yeah.
We in the chat we've had Wolf say, "How about Ruby Soho?" And Caller Me Interested said Ruby is training again. I heard, and I did hear that a while ago. She also was on a video earlier today, or maybe it was yesterday, where she was at it looked like a fan meet and greet or some sort, and she was looking really good. I mean, she was looking like Ruby Soho.
I'm gonna see if one of you guys catches this. All right.
Go for it.
Her destination is unknown. Anybody?
Ruby,
There
Ruby,
we go.
Ruby,
Soho. Yeah, that's the thing.
I
That
thought there was
sucks.
more. There was a trick there, and I'm like, well, like,
I was thinking of a movie. I don't know. Reese Witherspoon. I don't think she'd be good in AEW.
Ruby's a pretty good promo too.
Yeah, she's a pretty. I mean, back in, was it 2017, 2018? She was nominated for Female Professional Wrestler of the Year, and that was just based off of what she was doing in NXT.
Yeah, and she, the baby came again kind of during that weird period before they pulled out of the funk. So we never really got to enjoy her in a solid program where she got to shine. The way I think she's
But
able
here's
to.
one thing maybe that people can see detrimental about Ruby Soho is that in your entire time with WWE and her entire time in AEW, Ruby Soho has never held a belt.
Just bullshit.
She's always been the bridesmaid, but never the bride.
That's not true.
Big freaking deal. Like
that's not. She was front and center during the Owen. Was it back in 22? That was the only time she was when she lost to Britt Baker. That was the only time she was ever front and center. But it was great. I thought that promo she cut on that Rampage right before that. That match with that.
I agree.
At some point, every world champion in the history of professional wrestling was someone who hadn't been a world champion before.
Didn't they strap San Martino right up though in his first match? I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, my internet connection is crapping out on me here, guys. So if I
sound great to us.
Well, I was just talking, listening to Chris, and his mic went out, and I was like, Chris, your mic just died. I was like, nope, that was me. My internet connection went. So if I go silent real quick, hey guys, just start talking.
Jess will start talking about the John Moxley action figure collection she's got.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
That's hours of content.
Yep.
Hours of content. Oh, brother. Just what we want. Yeah. And Caller Me Interested says Ruby and her husband need to come back together. And her husband did wrestle one or two matches. I think, wasn't he on 0 Hour, one of the shows? Like World's End?
Daddy Magic. He teamed with Daddy Magic.
Right, yeah. Angelo Parker. So I like to say Angelo Parker instead of her husband. But yeah, Ruby Solo's husband, because that's one of my pet peeves, because I have a little sister, and I am always introduced as my sister's brother instead of my name, which irks me to no end. Anybody else have anything else to say about who will be the next AEW woman to step up before we move on to our next topic? All right. So then let's move on to our next topic. And, well, this one is something that I know we've talked about before, and I kind of think like at this point, I don't know about you guys, but I kind of feel like I'm wasting my breath. And that is, when will it finally be time to pull the trigger between Kazuchika Okada and Konosuke Takeshita? I mean, these guys have been in each other's faces and obviously not happy with each other since around 1973 now, I believe. And nothing has happened. I mean, is it to the point now where AEW and Tony Khan are risking people not really caring about this at all?
Yes. Like,
But
I'm 94% sure the match is going to happen at All In, and I think it should. You should save their big match for that, but you need to have something between them more substantial than just you suck. No, you suck. No, you suck. Like right now, it's just a boring sibling rivalry. Like something big needs to happen, and it needs to be Takeshita being kicked out of the Don Callis family for some reason, with Okada leading the charge, and
Yeah,
then you
Chris.
can have him.
Yeah, Chris. So like in our chat, Color Me Interested just said Takeshita needs a break from the Don Callis family. Period. But
He's
go
got
ahead.
to he's got to get through Mox for like they've got this. I think how many months out are we again, Kelson? 4 or 5 from All In.
Just
You said earlier,
under 5, like
just under
4.
5.
Yeah.
So to your point, Kelson, this is when the meat of the story starts. If I'm reading the tea leaves here, right? So the love triangle between Fletcher, Takeshita, and Okada is going on. They're talking about it weekly. Takeshita has established that he's got one more match. He's got to get that title off Mox. I think that happens at Double or Nothing. That then gives the leverage for the two of them to have a reason to fight it all in, to unify the belts again. I also agree with you. I think when he wins the title on Mox, that also is the night he leaves the Callis family. Don't know if he goes with the Death Riders. Though long term, I could see Mox actually coming to save him at some point. I think there's some longer term stuff they can do after the Okada angle with that. But I think really what you were getting at, this is when it starts to heat up because they can't draw it out anymore. I think they started the build a little too early, maybe on it, which was the problem. But it's going to have to heat up now, or they're going to waste the rest of the 4 months.
Yeah, Wolf in the chat said I think they're waiting for All In or Forbidden Door. Well, Wolf, they haven't mentioned or given a date or anything about Forbidden. I don't think that they're doing a Forbidden Door this year.
I have a Forbidden Door prediction.
I personally don't think that New Japan Pro Wrestling is strong enough to do a Forbidden Door.
Good dude. I couldn't disagree with that statement more. And if you really think about it, for the past 3 months, there's a lot of programming in Japan that's very, it's pointing towards Forbidden Door. You've got a lot of top guys over there talking during promos and press scrums like, we don't need the AEW. AEW's bad. Like it's been a thing for like the past 3 months. I think there's going to be a Forbidden Door. I think it's going to be huge. New Japan just had a mass exodus, but it moved a lot of their younger talent up into positions, and they're absolutely flourishing as a result. Battle of the Super Juniors was fantastic. We're on an AEW chat right now. I apologize. Let me get back over to Okada and
Chris.
Takeshita. Yeah, geez. You guys know me. I'm a nerd. So,
I was going to say Forbidden Door. I wouldn't be surprised July 12th in Chicago, because guess what happens on July 11th in Chicago? opening night of the G1.
I have to disagree with you then, because look, we're going to talk about the G1 in our next topic, but G1 is, and I may be wrong here, but is not the G1 the biggest thing in NJPW? Why
It
would
is.
you let?
I mean,
Why would you
it-
lessen the G1 with
the-
Forbidden Door?
The G1,
When you know, because all the Forbidden Door is going to do with anybody that's in the G1 is show that they can't beat any AEW wrestlers, because that's what happens in Forbidden Door. That's where the Japanese wrestlers come to lose. It's as simple as that. Why would you do that? There is no reason to do that. I killed the chat. I did
Well,
it.
I mean,
I
they could
finally
always
did.
do something.
I was
Go
waiting
ahead,
for
Shane.
someone.
You were going to get to something, then
Yeah,
I cracked a joke with Chris and derailed you. My sorry.
Yeah, I apologize. Me and my tangents. They've done things with Japan going over AEW at Forbidden Door. I agree. It sucks because you got to call it what it is, man. That's AEW, and Forbidden Door has been consistent, like a way to make Japan look like crap or Tony Khan look like crap when he's trying to, forefront Inoki and not know what the hell he's doing, when he did that chant thing from the third year. But I don't know, man. Forbidden, I also don't think the G1 is the biggest thing that New Japan does on the year. I think Wrestle Kingdom is. It's their WrestleMania, but
Well, that's true. That's a good point. But again, though, Wrestle Kingdom is one night. Arguably, you could say it's one night. I know there's build toward it, but G1 is a month-long tournament, which
it's like the G1 is like the Rumble, though. Things happen at Wrestle Kingdom because things happened at the G1.
Mhm.
The G1 could be like Royal Rumble, and their money and the bank rolled up into one event. If you really want to break it down, but
Yeah.
I will say this. I do believe that and I stress this, if AEW and their partners do a Forbidden Door this year, it's going to be very CMLL and Stardom heavy. I don't think you're going to see a lot of New Japan. Because I personally, that whole thing with the build-up saying I'm not a fan of AEW, etc., from the New Japan wrestlers doing that, I don't think that's a work. I think that's a shoot. And
Yeah, I didn't either.
there's no reason. Why would you want to come to Forbidden Door as a New Japan wrestler, other than to get a contract with AEW?
I would change the format of Forbidden Door, actually. The whole dream match thing the first year was fun, but to this point, you've got one side that's got the. Why are we talking about this when we're supposed to? You know what? I'm not going to talk about it. Let's stay
All
on
right.
topic.
Well,
Go ahead,
well,
Kelsey.
yeah, thank you, Barry. There's so many tangents going on right now.
Yeah. Well, you want to move on to the next topic?
Yeah, let's go.
Because this has something that literally has absolutely nothing to do with what we've been talking about. And so it's something new and something fresh. Let's talk about the G1. There's been a lot of talk. We're specifically going to be talking about AEW participants in the G1 Climax. Look, there's been a lot of talk about AEW sending wrestlers to the G1 Climax. At least two. I've heard two, maybe three. Right, but when you ask who's it's going to be, because that topic of discussion has come up on Twitter and on our subreddit, etc., it blows my mind. And of course, on our Discord, it blows my mind that so many people have different opinions about who it's going to be.
And real quick before others chime in, because I don't want to talk first, this does cause an issue because it runs during the time period of All In, right? Chris, did you
No.
say that or something?
No,
The G1 starts on July 11th and runs through August 16th. So anyone from AEW who is in the G1 really won't be around for the core building time of All In.
Okay.
So whoever AEW sends
Got it.
is either just not going to have a match at All In or likely be part of the Casino Battle Royal. So I feel like that leaves out your Takeshita, Okada, Moxley, Ospreay, Omega, Swerve.
Chris, look, you said that about Takeshita on Discord, and when I saw it, I kind of was like, "What?" Takeshita is the defending. You can't use the word champion, the trophy holder of the G1 Climax. He won it last year. Would it be kind of maybe unprecedented, to just barring injury, for him not to at least go and try to? I guess defend is not the right word, but to me, it just seems like you have to send Takeshita.
Not as unprecedented as you might think. There's been plenty of people that have won and not been in. There's been champions who were like, no, I'm not going to do the tournament. I think it's one of the, like I said, I think Okada Takeshita happens at All In, so you really have to have Takeshita there during that important build, unless you go with the, oh, see, Okada does the, oh, he doesn't care, but that would be a weird thing because I just don't see any chance of Takeshita being the heel in that scenario.
Am I right in saying, Chris, that Kevin Knight and Konosuke Takeshita are the two in AEW that do have dual contracts with NJPW?
I know Takeshita does. I'm not sure if Kevin Knight does.
He does.
No, I know Kevin Knight does.
Yeah.
Ishii, maybe. God, I can't even think. Kitsuri, I can't even.
Shibata.
Yeah, Shibata.
I
would
so.
say. Shibata might belong to. Oh, I know Kota. Kota had a shared.
Oh, he ain't wrestling. His femur's broken.
Oh, I
neither
mean, he's been out
Shibata or
Who did
Ibushi are with
Ishii.
New
Yeah.
Japan.
Who did Takeshita wrestle at All In last year?
Mox?
Was it Mox?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Sure.
Because I remember him being in a pretty.
Takeshita, but Hangman wrestled Mox.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. That's for the title. Yeah. So who?
I think Takeshita was Osprey.
Was it Takeshita Osprey at All In? No.
No.
It was somebody other than Hangman and Mox.
Well, anyway, what I was going to get to is if it's 2 to 3 people, I think we were talking about like a Bandito would be perfect. Brody would be a lot of help. Put both of them in there, it'd be a blast. We've seen the grinds to go back and forth to Japan happens. There was quite a few performers who did quite a bit of traveling. Megan Bain's a prime example. The lady was working the West and the East together, back to back to back. It can go. I'm not as worried about them building up during, or not being able to build anybody out for an all-in match. But Chris, the reason I was asking is I didn't know if there were any events that specifically were occurring around when all-in happens that are important to G1, like the start of the semifinals or something where like folks need to be there. It's not something they can miss, like for kind of the qualifying rounds or the round robin stuff earlier on. So I just don't think the travel is going to be a big deal. They just have to be smart with it.
Takeshita was in the Casino Gauntlet match.
Gotcha.
At
Okay.
All In.
So then to your point, maybe those folks would be, in the Casino Gauntlet because they don't have to plan anything out or be in the storyline.
Yeah, because, I mean, the G1 is, I'm assuming it's going to be 2 blocks of 10 again this year. And I know the opening night is all block action, like 10 singles matches, but it's typically the way they do shows is it'll be 5 preview tags and then 5 block matches for A, and then the next night it'll be, preview tags and 5 block matches for B.
Gotcha.
Okay. Well, so the question is, who does AEW send the G1 Climax? If there is going to be 2, because look, Bryan Danielson, Will Ospreay, they've both, and Tony Khan obviously have all kind of promoted it.
Yeah.
For me, top names I would look at would be Claudio, Pac, Mark Davis, Lance Archer. There's a few others I know I mentioned in the Discord. Hangman could be a possibility.
Yeah, can you imagine him winning the G1 Climax? I don't see AEW. It would be a travesty if an AEW wrestler went and won the G1 Climax, because I really can.
You mean like exactly what happened last year when Takeshita won?
No, because Takeshita was a dual contract. It's
he's
different.
a dual contract.
I don't think we're going to see
and he
an
recently
AEW
resigned.
person win. Yeah,
and he did recently resign with NJPW. So
we don't do that twice in a row.
Yeah, of course. In the chat, Color Me Interested did say send Ricochet over, which does make sense.
Good.
And he also mentioned Ace Austin. Asked, does Ace Austin have a dual contract? That I don't know, but I don't think so.
Ricochet would be fantastic. Like Ricochet, Bandito, and Brody would be three. That would be fun to see.
What about?
I'd love to see Brody over there. Actually, just mixing it up.
Roderick Strong was another name I thought
Roddy would be good too. There's a lot of real strong mid card, upper mid card talent you can put into that. That would be fantastic.
I think Orange Cassidy would get over huge.
Well, I want to ask Jess to chime in here because Jess has been quite silent. Who do you think should AEW send to the G1 Climax?
Harley Cameron.
Yeah, there. And that's why she's been silent.
Put her in a lucha mask. They won't know.
Yes, and Harley Graham.
Conrad from the EPW show says, I say some young guys, Yuta, Claudio, Takeshita, and Mascara Dorada. And he also went on to say Roosh would be dope. Which,
yeah, I saw that, Shane. That would be Roosh would be dope.
Yeah,
Roosh would be
Dorada
dope.
would be fantastic, though. But I feel like he'd be like better showcased in the Super Juniors, even though he's been around for a while. People think he's like newer, but he's been around for like a decade.
You know, and if AEW does send wrestlers over to the G1 like expected, 2 or 3, to me it kind of totally removes the need to have a Forbidden Door. Just do Grand Slam Mexico, which we know is going to happen, and that got over really well.
Yeah, this comes back to the thing I was going to say about Forbidden Door. I'd like them to just change the format of the show. I think last year they kind of hit a good balance where they keep main AEW storylines progressing and just use it as a showcase. Do a bunch of mixed promotional tags where it's fun. Heck, put a New Japan match against New Japan talent on the show. Put a CMLL against CMLL. Like, it doesn't need to be AEW versus
and I
in
agree.
a competitive sense. Just make it like a carnival of a celebration of wrestling. You know?
Right. Yeah. And that's something Conrad also said, no announcement for Forbidden Door yet. Yeah, that's something that I mentioned a short while ago, and I agree with you. I mean, there doesn't need to be dream matches anymore because there are, to me, there's none.
We got them all, pretty much.
We got them. So, and last year people were complaining that because Forbidden Door happened at the time that it did with the G1 Climax right there, and of course Stardom's what do you call the 5-star Grand Prix, there wasn't any build-up for Forbidden Door last year. And I was absolutely fine with that because I've gone on record many times since Forbidden Door started saying that Forbidden Door is the great momentum killer for AEW. Every time AEW has fallen, into storytelling hell, I guess is the best way to put it. In my opinion, it's been Forbidden Door that has caused that. And I don't want to see people spend. It should be just a exhibition showcase. No titles, nothing. Just put fun matches out there for people to watch.
I thought they had a good balance last year, Kelson. You pointed out that they kept a couple main storylines and had just regular AEW matches on the show.
Yeah, I mean, personally, how many Forbidden Doors have there been now? 4?
Three or 4.
How many, Shane? You would know.
3.
3? I did watch
4. 22
4.
3.
Right, you're right. 4. I did not watch 2022 because I didn't give a damn about any of the matches, and I still don't. Don't.
Orange Cassidy, Will Ospreay.
I was just going to say that's the first time I got to see Will Ospreay.
But my thing is that I did watch Forbidden Door last year, and I think that is the only Forbidden Door that I've watched, and I thought it was absolutely awful. I thought it was awful, and I've come to realize that I don't like strong style wrestling. And I don't like technical wrestling because I think watching Zack Sabre wrestle is like watching very, very, very slow paint dry. He is the most boring wrestler I have ever seen in my life. His big hold last year on Forbidden Door was getting Nigel McGuinness in a finger hold.
Do you like Hechicero?
I do, but
Hechicero
is so much different than Zack Sabre because Hechicero has, well, he can, even though he's a much bigger guy than Zack Sabre, Zack Sabre to me wrestles like a 70-year-old man.
It's funny because I saw Zack Sabre Jr. live at a Highlight Arena here in Orlando for I think a Progress show that was run here or something during WrestleMania weekend. And his match bored the hell out of me too, Kelson. But over the years, I've realized watching Zach's match for me is watching Zach. I love his character and how snarky and sarcastic he is. But if you're not into that, I totally agree. He can bore the bejesus out of you.
He may have a great character and he may be snarky and whatever, but I can't see it because I'm sleeping through his matches.
Well, that's my point. Like either you're into that and get it, or like he's gonna bore the bejesus out of a normal wrestler, a normal fan, and like that's a high risk that if you don't like his character, and a lot of people aren't going to, like, you know, you're going to tune out a lot of technical people that don't like technical wrestling, and then you're 50-50 if they like the character. So like,
yeah, I do want to go to the chat real quick. Color Me Interested said Maple Leaf Pro at Forbidden Door. That would be a pretty interesting thing. Lil Mount Shocker, I hope I said that the way you intended that name to read, but he or she did point out that's because All In was over a month earlier last year, meaning why there wasn't as much build-up and whatnot. Color Me Interested, he's different because he wears a mask. That's, of course, alluding to Hechicero. EPW show, I mean, said Kevin Knight was a good call, and he also went on to say that I enjoy Zack Sabre Jr. Well, we have to agree to disagree on that one, Conrad. I
think Hechicero's style is a lot different too. Sorry, I derailed you. I should have kept that to myself.
No. You're right. I mean, that's what I was trying to say earlier. I mean, the guy can move. He's got a different style. Zach's and on guard to the max says Zack Sabre Jr. versus Orange Cassidy was an absolutely fantastic match. It was such a contrast of styles, which made the match that much more interesting. Look,
thank you.
Look, Rollins, of course, on guard is Rollins. Whenever Orange Cassidy is in a match, there's going to be a contrast of styles because nobody wrestles like
nobody wrestles. Seriously. I just want to put that Orange Cassidy is brilliant.
Yeah.
Like the guy, and people are like, oh, the kicks, they laugh at him. Like, it's psychological warfare. Like, it's not meant to be funny. It's meant to annoy his opponents into making mistakes. Like, you see, he does those little, like, lazy moves, and they get frustrated, and they charge in, and he takes advantage of it. Like, Orange Cassidy's psychology is brilliant, and the people who just hate on him and like, oh, this is so stupid, they're not paying attention. They just look at the most surface level stuff, 20-second clips, and hate on him for that. Like, really watch his matches and what he does, and you realize just how smart the guy is.
Yeah. There's a couple interesting characters in pro wrestling. Eddie Kingston's one of them, but I'm not going to talk about him. Orange Cassidy is another one.
Where's the mute
Orange
button?
Cassidy is one of the other ones where their whole build is so unique because like Orange Cassidy's gimmick is what if one of the greatest wrestlers, what if one of the greatest professional wrestlers in the world hated professional wrestling? And like that's Orange Cassidy to me. Like he finds professional wrestling annoying, but he happens to be one of the greatest wrestlers in the world. So like what a genius character, and like you can back it up, and it's really, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going in a
he
rat hole.
took
My
the whole
apologies.
Yeah, well,
he took the whole
let me,
trope of the reluctant warrior and spun it on its head in such a unique way.
I'm sorry about that tangent.
Yeah, it's
well,
my fault.
yeah. Well, let me put an end to the tangent then, because we're going to move on, because we've gotten far away from what that discussion was actually about. We're going to move on to our final discussion topic, which kind of wraps up the whole thing that we've been talking about. And it seems very weird that we're talking about it right now, and that is All In. And EPW show in the chat actually raised a question, and he said, I have a question. Should AEW move away from London after this 2026 show? Very interesting question. Let the guys answer that. And let's just look at it. The question that we're going to talk about All In is also, is it too early to start booking for All In? I personally think they've already started. That TK has already started booking with All In mind. So what do you guys think? Let's address EPW shows Conrad's question. Should AEW move away from London after this 2026 show? What do you guys think?
Yeah, there's got to be like some other like big venue that like give other people a chance to feel the love, I think.
Yeah, I think they don't need to like never do it again, but I think the seemingly every other year plan, I don't know about that. Like I feel like it's a deal you could do every 4 to 5 years. Make it like they're going to go back there, but not every other year.
Well, let me ask you guys this. If we were not going to go to London or Wembley next year, whether it's Wembley, the O2 or whatever, where do you go? Do you stay in North America? Do you go to Australia, which I think is a terrible idea because of the time difference? You would lose too many fans. Japan is another place, but again, that's a 13-hour difference Eastern time to Japan Standard Time. Of course, I mean, it's out there. You always have Saudi Arabia, ducks.
Yeah, I kind of to your point, there's been a couple interesting case studies from both AEW and WWE about returning to the same venue 2 years in a row. We saw it with the second All in London, doing significantly less than the first one. That was the start of some of the decline in AEW in general, but I think that's an interesting data point. And we've got WWE right now live. They did really well in Vegas last year. Now there's additional factors hitting them this year, but I think a contributor is that they're doing the same location 2 years in a row. Going to the same area too often dilutes the interest, and you never do as well.
Yeah, Color Me Interested in the chat said, what if, that's different. He mentioned Puerto Rico. Marcus the Entertainer said Aztec Stadium in Mexico.
Yeah.
Vegas, baby.
I'd like to see, they could probably do well in LA. Chicago would do a good All In.
Canada, Mexico.
I'm iffy on the foreign, like it's hard to promote in a foreign country a show that big. Do you think they can put 35,000 for All In somewhere in Canada or Mexico? Maybe Mexico. I don't think Canada.
No,
what about the Superdome? I mean, New Orleans has been, for lack of a better word, screwed by WWE. They probably welcome AEW and promote the hell out of it in New Orleans.
I don't know how well, like, I would focus on the markets you draw well in, and New Orleans is not one of their big markets.
Yeah,
that's why I was thinking LA and Chicago off the top of my head.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. I mean, like, the thing that sucks is, I mean, like, Europe is such a big draw for them right now. What do they have going on Rev Pro? Maybe they could hit something on the other side of that country.
Yeah.
Maybe target another demographic market. The only reason I was thinking Canada is Maple Leaf is really doing good right now. So I think.
But that's just Ontario, though. Like, that's not a whole nationwide thing.
No, you're right, 100%. So,
and the other challenge is to All In, like with Mania. Well, a lot of WWE's marquee shows, AEW isn't there yet, but there's a lot of international travel, so you got to pick a location that's easy to get to. I don't know how easy it is to get to some of the other locations overseas, but it's easy to get into Chicago. It's easy to get into the New York area. It's easy to get into Orlando, LA. I'd focus on markets that they draw well in.
Yeah, because like the stadium they did in Texas this year, like
Yeah,
it's
easy
not
to get
far
there.
from
Nope.
the airport.
Perfect.
Like
It's easy for international travel,
Yeah,
especially coming up from Mexico.
When you talk about international travel, I think you got to look at Atlanta. You know, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It's Atlanta's international hub. It's hosting some of the World Cup matches. Mercedes-Benz is an amazing stadium. They've done concerts there. Wrestling would be great there. And who could forget WCW in the Georgia Dome?
Yeah,
that was a hell of a show.
And
I mean,
even if you
Atlanta
don't
is
do there,
wrestling.
yeah, and even if you don't do there, you've got Georgia State in the old Brave Stadium. You can run there. You could run Georgia Tech Stadium. Kennesaw State. Well, I don't know. You probably couldn't do Kennesaw State because I don't think they could handle it. But like, there's a lot of places in Atlanta that have big outdoor spots too. Well, not a lot, but like 3 or 4. That's an easy place to get to internationally too.
When I went to Kennesaw State University, they didn't have any big places there.
Hey, Braun Breaker played football for them, so
amen. So Braun Baker and Kelson are the two most famous
Kennesaw State alumni.
Could I offer a modest proposal? AEW all in
Does it involve
Columbus?
me dressing up as Little Bo Peep?
Yeah, I mean, of course, you're going to have people that are saying Columbus, and Rollins said Cleveland. Represent.
It'd be fine if they come back to Dallas, even though it's technically Arlington.
Color Me Interested, by the way, just said, and this is absolutely true, AEW has done too many shows in Chicagoland area. And I agree with that. That's stale at this point.
Jag Stadium is an easy one for them, right?
No, it isn't.
Well, no, it's under construction. They're playing in Orlando.
Yeah, they're playing in Orlando now. So, yeah, it's like, okay,
never mind.
They show up to the stadium and it's like, what happened? There's no bleachers left.
Tony's standing there drinking his cup and saying, I think we got some problems.
Yeah,
maybe in 2028.
I think for the next 2 years, 2 seasons, is it? Orlando. It's the Orlando Jaguars.
It's a big deal here in town, man. Like big
I think it'll be this season and the 2027 into 2028.
Yeah. I'd like to see them run the MLS stadium here if they did it all in here. I think they could. I don't think they could fill the Citrus Bowl, but I think the MLS stadium they could do well in.
If it was a different, maybe 5 years from now, I'd say Michigan Wolverines campus stadium. I mean,
the Big House.
The Big House.
I'd love to see somebody try to run the Horseshoe or the Big House or Texas.
You don't want to run it at the Shoe. You don't want to run it at the Shoe. The plumbing would be a nightmare. A lot of the seats are like bench style.
That's who cares? I want to see 110,000 people on TV. They can hold it.
You don't want to run an outdoor stadium in Texas in July or August.
Yeah.
Color Me Interested just said something interesting. All in Seattle would be cool. I could see that. That's a really good suggestion.
Madison Square Garden, baby.
I think with WWE running shows in Madison Square Garden, I think that is a thing where they're doing to literally prevent AEW from going there. I really do.
Maybe. So is it too early to start booking?
You know what? Like I said, I think they already are.
Me too. It's pretty clear, Kelson. Tony's had a pretty
you got to book the venue before you can book the show, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's with all the people that Tony has brought in. If he can arrange it to where they're, I know this is going to sound stupid, but I think Zeta Steele is a star. I think that she's going to get a spot. Not as a world title, but maybe she could be the TBS champion, and I think that would be a great match. Her against Willow would be a really good match.
What if they did a women's casino? They haven't done like a women's casino gauntlet there at All In. You'd have a men's and a women's.
They did it last.
They did one last year.
Oh, that's right.
Athena won it. Athena won it. She eliminated
man.
Mina sure
give that moment to Zeta, and then she gets the title match. I mean,
dude, I was going to say the exact same thing.
Yeah, that's a push without need to give somebody a belt.
Like I guarantee Tony Khan already has, both world title matches, probably the tag, Okada, Takeshita
So
in there. Like, I guarantee he
I,
already has 5 or 6 key matches already in place.
I think the world title match may be a little more in jeopardy than I believed a week or two ago. And I think that's because of how well they've been doing with MJF holding the belt. That, and I don't remember, was Alvarez or Meltzer on one of their shows kind of, I think it was Meltzer brought up the numbers that, like, I thought for sure MJF was going to drop the belt to Omega, and I'm not so
Oh,
sure anymore because of how well they've been doing. And I don't know if we need it, if Omega Osprey would be the top draw. I mean, this is the only chance they're going to get to do it at all in, probably for a title. But I
I
think there
think
may be
Omega
something to that.
Osprey.
And I'm going to say something to you because you brought this up last week,
Yeah.
and I disagree with you last week, and I'm going to disagree with you this week. Omega and Osprey is not the match
Okay.
for All In. I think what happens now, if it was me booking it, which Tony Khan, one of Tony Khan's biggest weakness is that he hasn't hired me as a booker.
I told him that.
Yeah, I mean it's obvious. I mean it's obvious. I mean it's a glaring fault in Tony Khan's repertoire. But anyway, if it was me booking it, I would have Kenny Omega. Look, Kenny Omega against Will Ospreay is a fine match, but they're both baby faces. There's really not. You don't want to have a big match like that, where you want to have a match like Hangman Adam Page and Moxley at All In, where there's something to root for, clear something to root for. Omega versus Osprey is not. I think where you go here is you have somebody take out take out Omega, and that person is Kyle Fletcher, and the match is Kyle Fletcher and Will Ospreay. Book it, Tony. Thank you very much. I'll be here all week.
Earlier in the show, you said, "What do we do with Swerve at All In? Where does he go from here?" I think, mate, what if Swerve Omega's? Well, you got time to do it though, and there's a built-in story between those two. You can heat that back up real quick. He's the one that costs Omega, and then you've got Kenny out of the title scene, and you've got Swerve something to do, and those are two of the biggest stars they got, and it's a heel baby face match for All In.
I think Omega versus Osprey 3 happens for the finals of the Owen Hart tournament, and then it's Osprey versus MJF at All In.
Do they run that at a pay-per-view? What pay-per-view do they run that at?
Double or Nothing.
All In.
The finals All In is the finals of the Owen are a Double or Nothing.
Okay. So that's not a bad idea.
The winner fights in the championship match at All In. I think, and I've seen so many people say that Osprey is going to win Owen. It's not even. I mean, to me, with the Owen Hart this year, especially on the men's side, I mean, it's to the point where not a lot of people are expecting anything less than Osprey winning.
Well, yeah, I mean, you need him in place to be able to advertise him for All In, like, legit as part of your marketing. Like, consistently, your boy is going for the belt and he's going to try to bring it home. So, like, is it predictable? Yeah, but if that's the story they're telling, like, we know the good guys win, right?
And who better to have him beat than the ultimate heel, MJF?
Yeah, at All In. And then to your point, Chris, I didn't even consider that you can get the Kenny Omega Osprey match, out of way at Double or Nothing. Yeah.
Well, color me. I'm sorry, Marcus the Entertainer. Said, "What's the biggest women's match AEW could do it All In?"
Willow Thecla, I think.
Mercedes against Mercedes against Thecla. I don't think that's big enough.
Who? Like, all right. So if you got Mercedes, like, who? It would have been Mercedes Tony, but, like, who else?
That's why I'm saying you have Thecla just go on a run where she just wins, pay-per-view title match after pay-per-view title match. Like, you have all the faces come up against her. She's able to knock them down, and then Mercedes is able to beat the big bad terror of the division.
I think you might be onto something, Chris.
Well, let me ask you this: if you have Mercedes and Thecla, Is that going to be a heel versus heel match, or do you turn one of
No.
them face?
Mercedes comes back as a face.
So that's why I was
But
asking
that's
earlier.
isn't that kind of a weakness though with Mercedes, that she doesn't work as well as a face as a heel? That was one of the big complaints when she first came to AEW.
But what kind of heel? Like, there's a difference between being a Willow Goody Two Shoes heel and just somebody who's not a bad guy. And Mercedes can be somebody who's just not a bad guy. She doesn't need to be a goody two shoes. She doesn't need to be who you expect to make the save and the baby face getting beat down, but she doesn't need to be a bad guy. And that's enough to be cheered as a face in wrestling now. And I think that's the approach they can take with her.
Well, here's the other thing. And again, this is heel versus heel currently right now.
Yeah.
But Marcus the Entertainer chimed in saying the biggest match to me is Mercedes versus Athena. We totally forgot about Athena.
She's not on AEW TV. That's why.
Yeah, so it's easy to forget about somebody that good because you don't see them at all.
Well, and that's like not a it's like I don't consider regular Ring of Honor talent for AEW stuff because they're not AEW talent, and that's a bummer for her because I think she's great.
Yeah,
Speaking of Athena, if you can watch ROH, go watch her title match from the last ROH show against Mile World. Holy crap, that was so good.
When you talk about Tekla if Tekla is not the champion going into All In and facing somebody like Athena or Mercedes Moné, you know who I'd like to see as champion? Somebody like Suri or Shuri.
Ooh.
I think, can you imagine Mercedes Moné versus Shuri
at
All
great
In? Unbelievable match.
Yeah.
Oh, not Ronda Rousey?
You shut your filthy hole.
I tried to
Shayna
tell
Baszler?
people that it was just to promote the thing, but they didn't.
It was to promote the thing.
Yeah, it was to promote what thing? I don't know, but it was to promote the thing.
It was to promote the match. It was.
Well, she'll be back if she wins the thing. That I guarantee. If she doesn't win the thing, she won't come back.
I don't think she'll be back.
God, I hope she doesn't win
the program was her and Tony, and Tony's
yeah.
gone for
I think people have put too much thought into the Ronda Rousey thing. I personally, from the very get go, I thought it was a one-off kind of thing, simply because the appearance happened in Los Angeles. Ronda Rousey's in Los Angeles. I don't think it is. It was a big FU to TKO. I mean, that's all it was.
It was free market testing. I mean, if you really,
that's all it was.
Yeah, it was free market testing. I mean, honestly, I could see her coming back if she goes over Carino in the fight. I could really see her coming back. She's huge. She's on top. She'll look good on TV at that point. But if she loses, she already looks like shit. Let's not get around the fact that she's absolutely a danger hire and she's an asshole outside of combat sports. But
wait, she's facing Steve Carino?
Not Steve Carino. Excuse me, Gino, whatever her,
Carano.
Hey, can we get back to Thekla for a second and not?
Sure.
Yeah. So, Kelson, you're talking too about heel versus babyface heel or heel and stuff. Like, I watch Thekla and I'm watching this woman get more and more over every week, and I see her, especially with her promo style, getting babyface pops as a heel. And if that run happens, I think Tony should let her blow up. Don't try to force heel. Just let the crowd do what they're going to do and let her be her character, because she's been a breath of fresh air to the division. And I just let her be herself, and the crowd will react the way they react, and just let it go.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, the whole heel face dynamic it's such a gray area. I mean, you have
not if you're running people over and stabbing and stuff. I mean,
yeah, but I'm saying you have outright heels that get plenty of cheers. There's people who cheer for MJF.
Barry made an incredible point.
Let me break in here because Color Me Interested had an actually really question, and that is, who can Tekla face to legitimize her more? I think that's a great question to ask. Go ahead, Shane. Let's throw it to you.
No, I just wanted to expand on what Barry had said. Just base it off of how the crowd reacts. At this point, isn't that how the WWF built Stone Cold Steve Austin? And they just bounced back and kept bouncing back, and they found something that worked, and loved him or hate him, they were still, putting asses in seats with them. But yeah, that's what I got.
Yeah, she she came in and her style just works here, and it's been fun to watch an organic rise. She made sense. They played how she did very well right into the title picture. It's very similar to them just kind of letting Harley organically get over. Keep them on TV, let them do their thing and figure it out. And if they get over, let them get over. Don't try to force them. And if Thekla, Stone Cold is actually what was running through my mind, Shane, when I was saying that earlier. Like, he was a heel and then he just got over, but he wasn't like an evil heel. He wasn't stabbing people. He wasn't smashing cinder blocks. He just was a bad guy. He just wasn't evil though.
He was an anti-hero.
Yeah, he was an anti. Just run with it, and that's the vibe she gives off. They're not doing like evil stuff. They're just bad guys. And that's the kind of people that I think just let the crowd cheer him, because it's a thing of respect. It's not like, ooh, yeah, be a bad guy. It's more like, yeah, this person's great. This is a lot of fun to watch, and like embrace that and just let him run with it.
I mean, the people love DX, people love NWO, people love Bullet Club. These are all heel factions, y'all. Let them do their thing.
We're cheering for the entertainment, man.
Yeah.
Yes. Marcus the Entertainer in the chat made actually a really interesting observation here. Tekla should feud with OG champion Sheeta, Britt Baker, Nyla Rose to build her up until All In.
Riho. Bring Riho for her sacrificial lamb run. Don't they usually trot her out to put a champ over?
Yeah, but the thing is, Riho's actually bigger than Tekla, I think. So
not
Tekla's
right now.
tiny.
She's taller. She's not as thick though.
No, she's not. Hey, have you seen Riho lately? Riho's like,
no.
She is jacked. Riho's jacked.
Oh, okay.
You just can't
really
see
lean. Yeah,
she's lean, but she's. I mean, if you watch her, she's
a better word.
Yeah.
Oh damn! I just pulled a picture. Yeah, she's toned. That's for sure.
She is.
She's all dieted in.
Let me put it this way.
She's dialed in.
Unlike Eddie Kingston, Riho could kick my ass.
Oh my god, dude!
I tried to keep him off when I dropped Eddie.
I had to drop I was like, okay, we kind of ignored it, but now I've broken the seal, but we'll seal it back up again.
We ready to bring this in for a land and buggy?
Yeah, this is it. That's it. Guys, thank you for listening. I appreciate everybody in the chat. Color me interested. Marcus the Entertainer. I almost said Marcus the God, which is his other name. And of course, Conrad EPW show. Really enjoyed everybody's interaction. Tell your friends, get them in here. Have them talk to us. We're trying to get better at doing this. It's hard.
Smash that like button. Right?
Smash
that like button. It really helps out the algorithm.
Leave a comment.
Leave a comment. It really helps out the algorithm.
Yeah, and I'll be setting up super chats so you can make $100 super chats soon.
Please like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe and smash that like button. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so you can be notified when we put it. It
really helps out the algorithm.
I was like, it really helps out the algorithm. Like, I refuse to say that stuff. So
I'll do it for you.
So yes, Barry is our annoying spokesperson from here on out.
Oh man.
Yeah. So,
No, don't do that.
But anyway, look, we'll be back again. Obviously, next week we're here every Tuesday night at 8:45. Is next week's show the prediction show for Dynasty?
It is.
I think so. I won't be watching Dynamite live. I got to go watch a big ass rocket launch.
A big ass rocket launch.
Yeah, gonna watch Artemis 2 go up, man.
Artemis 2.
Heck yeah, man. I was there for the first one, going 2 for 2.
All right. So anyway, we will be back next Tuesday at 8:45 Eastern for our AEW Dynasty prediction show. Which right now I think we've got 2 matches, maybe. I don't know. Tony's got some work to do tomorrow night and Thursday night. Really, honestly, he really does. And then, of course, tomorrow night after Dynamite, be sure to go check out Conrad Cushman and Derek Shelton with their AEW Dynamite review. It's a lot of fun. And I know some of the guys that are in the chat tonight have been over there. It is. It's so worthwhile going over there.
Yeah, it's a great show.
Yeah,
They do a great
yeah,
job.
yeah. Chris is over there a lot. But anyway, thank you for listening, and we will see you next week. So for the AEW Fan Hub podcast team, this is Kelson saying, "Arrivederci, our fleet is in."
Good night, Eddie Kingston.
Matane.
Sweet dreams, Eddie Kingston.
I'm not saying anything about Eddie.